legal reason why sentence cannot proceed this evening?
I have bad toothache, Your Honor. Very, very, very bad toothache. And I don't think that they would give me the proper medical attention at penitentiary.
Any statement you'd like to make?
Yes, there is. Yes, a little difficult. I feel you try to be fair. It's hard for me to thank you for finding me guilty of something that was explained to me before I ever arrived here and in this courtroom as performing my duty as a responsible citizen. And I believe that it was my duty to try to stop extrajudicial killing that was taking place at that base. And I did write something, I'd like to read it. The judge, Mr. Jordan McNamara, and all the court staff, and my co-defendants. Glad to be here tonight. Trying circumstances, but I said it maybe a month ago. I believe that we did the right thing 16 months ago, and whatever happens to us after that is just going to have to happen. I never did understand the Hancock 38 decision when you inexplicably, as far as I was concerned, found us guilty of performing what I still consider my civic duty. I have yet heard how this is considered an illegal act, but let me read my statement, please. It took me a minute to write it, and actually I had to write it on the way up here. I was not even considering being found guilty. I thought we had presented a pristine case, and someone told me write a sentence and statement just in case. So I'll say at least I get to say this one more time. These proceedings are taking place on stolen Onondaga land, and this is something that we need to understand. With all due respect, I watched a closing statement that consisted of a silent, disjointed, out-of-context film supplied by the very people that we accused and indicted with our people's indictment. The film and comments that were presented in the closing statement suggested that our intention was to block the gate and not to engage the base personnel. Upon our arrival, base personnel closed the front gate. While we were portrayed as standing in the front line blocking traffic, we were out of the way. There was no way any cars could proceed. The gates were closed and locked upon our arrival. I think the picture was taken out of context. It was placed up there with everybody standing in a straight line. That might have been 2 or 10, 15 minutes out of a 2-hour stay. We had engaged the personnel. We walked up to the gate and spoke to them. We told them there were crimes being committed there that needed to be stopped, that we wanted to indict them, their commander, and the chain of command. All of this took place. None of this was on that film. And I was sitting next to a defendant. I mentioned this, and I said, well, the judge is going to go home and look at the whole film and realize that this short little piece is just put up to try to support what the DA was trying to accuse us of. Within 2 hours, I'm sure we could have found a segmented piece where we were actively engaging the police and made our case. I also felt that some of the points you made about evidence that we didn't present could have been alleviated if we had an expert witness explain these things. It gets rather complicated, and although, like Patty said, I feel, as she does, that we were morally correct, but after speaking with Ramsey Clark, and I did have a chance to speak with him personally, and I looked at all the emails with all the information and amicus briefs about international law and judicial discretion. It seems like you have the right, if you want to decide on this matter. and to decide if these international law arguments and the addendum for judicial discretion, informs our intent that we should come here and we should speak out against that and come here to court and explain to you our rationale and reason for going there. We are completely convinced that there are war crimes being committed here. We didn't come to block traffic. We didn't come to cause public annoyance or alarm. If the streets were empty, we were going to that gate to charge those people with committing war crimes. And as I understand even now, that it's my duty to do that, and if you can explain to me how it's not, I'd be more comfortable with this sentence. If I could finish this. This film was supplied by the very people who we were indicting, the base personnel. We engaged them for an hour or more. When the police arrived, we told them that there were crimes being committed at that base. They disregarded us. They spoke to the very people we were accusing, maybe because we have been there before. And even that term, it was used as an accusation. Oh, you've been here before. Yeah, I've been here before. They have been killing people at that base, and they continue, and I'll be here again, either after I go home or after I go to jail and get out. As long as they're committing crimes at that base, and extrajudicial killing, to kill somebody without giving them a chance to defend themselves, it's just common sense that that's not right. I don't care if the United States Army does it or anybody kills somebody without giving them a chance, even if they're an official agency, to execute somebody without giving them a chance to even defend themselves is extrajudicial killing, and you, of all people, should rile up against something like that. Yeah, that term, the term that, we've been here before, as though it was an accusation, it's an honor. It's an honor to me that I've been here before. To stop illegal activities and obvious violations of international law, war crimes, torture, extrajudicial killing. I told you, Judge, on a subsequent arraignment, that I did not understand of the first conviction, with no consideration for our much more serious charges. They were illegally killing people, according to expert witness Ramsey Clark and other expert witnesses that we tried to bring in, Francis Boyle, Mary Ellen O'Connor, and the illustrious Chantel Thomas from Cornell, all international and constitutional law scholars. From reading their works briefly and speaking with some of them, it gave me an understanding that, number one, that there were major crimes being committed at Hancock, and that, number two, you, Judge Gideon, have the judicial discretion to consider as a valid component to our intent, our real understanding of crimes being committed at that base by the powerful, and our duty to somehow halt it. You should have found us innocent, but you can still pull a rabbit out of your robe, sir. Restorative justice is what I have in mind. Sentence us to investigate the crimes we're accusing them of committing. Order them to give you the justification for what appears to be illegal activity. You're the judge in the community where they rent that base. Shouldn't you know what's going on there? Or sentence us to community service to investigate allegations. Order us to investigate. We will. Order them to let us in. They won't. Order them to let you in. They will not, I think. Transparency and accountability are the checks that are needed on the executive when they transgress legally. How can a justification be judged as legal or not if it's secret. It's surreal, Judge. This is surreal. We have the government, the President of the United States and the CIA telling us that they're killing people. It looks like it's illegal, but we have a secret understanding for doing this. And I said it in my testimony. That's not only troubling, it's mind-boggling. It's hard for me to believe that intelligent people are sitting here swallowing this, that they're killing people. It appears as though we're afraid to stop them. That's what it looks like. They're doing it, not hiding it that well, and it seems like the entities that were created to put these people in check, when they transgress those bounds, don't seem to work. I mean, they're not even being investigated, and we would be glad to as a sentence, and it would take some time. And probably, and I say this, it's a bit ludicrous because I know they're not going to let us in there. They're not going to let anybody look at what they're doing, and that should be telling in itself. And I just say that community service will gladly be fulfilled, and we would like, if possible, with his comprehensive analysis and his perception that almost borders on clairvoyance, to have Mr. McNamara join us in the investigation. At least as you sentence us for trying to save lives, and this is very important because we're talking about, again, disorderly conduct, and, well, trespass was dismissed. And it's hard to sit here and understand I'm getting ready to be sentenced for something. I didn't come here with any mens rea. I didn't have bad intentions. I didn't try to call public annoyance, alarm, or whatever. I tried to get to that base to tell them to get right where they would have to deal with me and tell them they're committing crimes, and somebody check out the validity of what we're trying to say, what we're trying to bring to light. And I'm just wondering, when do they ever have to explain what they're doing in there? We're here explaining our behinds, or when do they have to explain?